that you get people to?
We've been doing a personal growth kind of journey along the way. And so I just wanted to share a couple of other recordings just to kind of talk about. Last week, we talked a lot about trying versus training. Oh, sorry, Jake. And we talked about the difference of that. If you try something, you don't really give it your all. But when you're in training, that's when you really make a decision, and you're more likely to move forward on what you're doing. Do you guys remember talking about that? Mm-hmm. We're good. So I want to share a couple of other personal growth people. So I'm going to share Lisa Nichols first today. And some of you were talking about watching The Secret. She's also in The Secret. But I want to share a little bit because she talks about how do you have this breakthrough? So you really want to do something. You don't want to try. You really do want to train for it. But sometimes you still just don't do it. Why don't we do it? And so I'm going to let her speak to that. Sound good? Everybody sees this, right?
Forward. I want to give you some information now, and that is about a breakthrough. What's a true breakthrough? Breakthrough normally is misunderstood. And I want to tell you this because you're going to learn a lot, and I want you to have it in the correct concept. Breakthroughs are often misunderstood. It's a misunderstanding around breakthrough, and it's a misused word. We frequently use the word breakthrough. You want to write this down when we really mean we've had a new realization or awareness. All I've given you right now is a new realization or awareness. In some cases, it wasn't new, but there are some cases it was new or a new approach to thinking a certain way. We think breakthrough is that something changed right there. No, we didn't have a breakthrough just now. We had a new realization or awareness. And awareness, while important, is not a breakthrough. It's not a breakthrough. It's important to understand what true breakthrough is so that you can actually navigate yourself to it. Now, with my transformational trainers, I teach them how to make a breakthrough happen. So they got to know what it's not and know what it is, right? And so this is inside that manual. So I went and grabbed it this morning. I was so excited to bring it to you. In order for you to understand when you have a breakthrough, you need to understand what a breakthrough is and what it isn't. Because oftentimes when you think you've had a breakthrough and you call it a breakthrough, and then you revert back to a behavior you thought you then begin to believe you failed yourself. And that's where the limiting beliefs pile up. Most people misunderstand the process of a breakthrough. They misidentify what's happening and what they're experiencing, and they end up quitting, piling on more limited breakthroughs. Now watch this, write this down. There are 3 ingredients to a true breakthrough. 3 ingredients. You'll never, you will believe what's in it. Number 1, irritation. Number 2, declaration. Number 3, surrendered action. The 3 ingredients to a true breakthrough is irritation, declaration, and surrendered action. Irritation is the presence of an irritation that's confirmed, that you're pushing beyond your comfort zone. So when you're on your way to a breakthrough, the presence of that irritation tells you, okay, I'm about to go past my comfort zone. The irritation is coming from the conflict, listen to this, between your desires and your doubts. So whenever you're in irritation around a forthcoming breakthrough, it's the conflict that's happening between your desires and your doubts. This deep soul irritation is the catalyst of your transformation. Now, I'm telling you this because people often back away from irritation. They back away from discomfort. Come on, you guys, raise your hand if you know that that's something you have a tendency to do. They back away from conflict. They back away, but understand that irritation in this journey is it's the conflict between your desires and your doubts. And a deep soulful irritation is actually the catalyst to your transformation. The second part, ingredient inside of a breakthrough, is declaration. Now, I really want you to hear this because you've done this over and over and over again. And adding this context could possibly, and I believe, really help you. There are two main declarations that you can say. The first declaration is, I will. And the second declaration is, I will not. The I will declaration is positive. But the problem is that when you say I will, you're operating in theory. I know I'm gonna mush your brains up a little, but I really want you to, the beginning of understanding this. When you say I will, you're operating in theory. You're talking about the future. You're talking about something out there. And since your unconscious mind is rooted in reality. It's not rooted in the future. It's rooted in reality. These declarations often are temporary, which is why you set a goal. I will work out every day. I will stop eating sugar. The reason why is your unconscious mind is rooted in reality. So these declarations are often temporary. However, the I will not, the second declaration, I will not, is way more powerful because it's rooted in reality. You're using current language and letting our unconscious mind know that this is the thing that's off limits right now. And so your I will not is often stronger, which is why we speak many times in contracting language. No, I will not, never again. And we can feel that versus I want, I will create. So I want you just to understand that. So the first is irritation, being willing to embrace the irritation that precedes the transformation. Second is declaration. You are saying verbally or physically, based on what you say or based on what you do, you're saying I will, and you're proving yourself true, or you're saying I will not, and you're taking a stand there. And if you say I will, and you don't follow through with it, then your subconscious mind says, actually, we're not. The last is surrendered action. Now, this is important. Surrendered action, write that down. So our current capacity is what created our current reality. That's so delicious just by itself. Just breathe that in. Our current capacity is what has created our current reality. And our current reality, your current reality cannot change without you changing your current capacity. So when you want more than your capacity, you won't get more than your capacity until you work on your capacity, which is why personal development exists. We have to surrender to something bigger than ourselves. Congratulations, you're here. You're letting me stretch your brain. You're letting me have your brain feel like it's contorted in moments of discomfort and moments of a willingness to share and to address things. That's you expanding your capacity right here, right now. We have to be willing to surrender to our current self-image so our new self can emerge. You can never become the woman you're supposed to become without accepting the woman you already are. You can never become the man you're supposed to become without accepting the man that you already are. So we have to be willing to surrender to our current self-image so that our new self can emerge. Without the three ingredients, right? Without the three ingredients of irritation, declaration, and surrendered action, you actually won't experience a true breakthrough. The process of personal development is more of an unlearning than it is a learning. Ugh. So don't be in the information gathering business. Gather information and then implement it. Gather information and then implement it. Gather information and unlearn what you thought you knew based on the new information you gathered. Based on this, based on just this course right here today, right? So when you look at bringing yourself, what you want to do is bring yourself back to a time before you would sabotage yourself. Now, I want you to see this. When you look at a breakthrough, when you look at limiting beliefs, confronting a limiting belief, you want to take yourself, or let a process like this take you back to a time before you sabotage yourself, before any trauma and before the limiting beliefs. You want to go back to that to see, what can I unlearn? During the unlearning process, you want to understand that you're confronting things that you've been living with for years. And sometimes you're more committed to a limiting belief than you are to a new possibility. Ooh, oh, ouch. You can type in chat, ouch, if that sting. I'll say it again. Sometimes you become more committed to a limiting belief than you are to a new possibility. Why? Because the limiting belief is something you've had for years. And we as humans become more committed to what's familiar than what's unfamiliar. I know I'm giving you a lot.
Anybody feel that owie from that? What do you think about those steps? It makes sense to me. And then I'm going to take you from here because of this same course. There was actually a gal named Alicia McPeak, and she is a Juice Plus rep participating in this course. And she was given a challenge in front of everybody. Everybody else could make their own personal challenge on their own timeline. But Eric Worre pulled her out of the thousands of people, and she made a commitment that to move her business forward, she wanted to tell her story. He made the challenge that she needed to tell 100 people her story in 7 days. Just to call them up and let them know, hey, I've had this challenge. I'd really like to share my story. And I'm going to share with you. Remember what they just said on there: irritation, making that declaration, and then surrendering. And I remember those steps. And then when you hear it from Alicia of what she went through during those 7 days, see where you can identify, did she have a breakthrough? And what would that look like for you? Any questions or feedback on that before I show you Alicia and what happened to her after 7 days? Okay. Let me just switch on.
Alicia, her challenge was to tell the people you sponsored and anyone else active in the organization if they want to rank advance, and if yes, map out a plan and connect, and then work with them. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. That was Daniel. Alicia's is to reach out to people you don't have a great relationship with and tell them the story and just go crazy.
Yep. So what I learned.
Can you turn your camera on?
Let me see. There we go.
There you are.
Hey,
how you doing? So tell us what happened and tell us what you learned.
Okay, so what happened first was on Friday, I had a birthday party for myself, like planned, so I didn't do anything. Then Saturday, I thought, okay, so I need to get ready. I need to prepare. I need to get my team, my support team. I need to know what I'm going to say. I need to blah, blah, blah. So, and I need to clean my house because I'm going to get busy. So all day on Saturday, I avoided. Then Sunday, I cried, I got angry, and I'm going, why is this so hard for me? I don't understand. Like, I don't have a problem talking to people. Obviously, it was a perfect challenge for me because I thought, even when you gave me the challenge, I thought, I know that's what I said I needed, but I don't know if that's really the challenge I need. Obviously, the perfect challenge for me. So I spent several hours talking to my support team, crying, breaking down, getting angry, doing this whole thing. And finally, I picked up the phone and made my first phone call to a true business prospect. And basically blubbered and cried my way through, sharing my story and inviting him to take a look at the business. And he is actually my son-in-law, who's a very amazing entrepreneurial young man. And he's got his hands in something else that he wants to focus on. But he said, this is definitely, if that doesn't work out, something he'd like to look at in the future. So that was a win. I relaxed, calmed down, kept moving, contacted about, I think 17 people and talked to 6. And by the end of the night, I was feeling good, started packing up my stuff for the evening, and my stomach started hurting. And then I spent the next 2 days sick. So then I'm like, and I'm beating myself up because this is my old story of self-sabotage. I'm going through this whole, oh my gosh, this is self-sabotage, blah, blah, blah. So then day 3 comes, I'm still sick to my stomach. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this win. This can't beat me. If I don't do something today, then I'll go back to ground zero and I won't break through and I won't move forward. So I forced myself to get back into activity, started reaching out. I reached out to another 20 people, talked to another 4. And all 10 people I've talked to have moved forward, and I have 10 other people in the books to talk to. I've reached out to 40 people total. All 10 people, I have 7 hot business prospects. I've got an order. and everybody else is in motion to learn about the product or the business somewhere. So everybody's moving forward. That was one of my main intentions, was not to let things lie no matter how the conversation went, move them through something somewhere, and everybody did. So the numbers aren't the way that they should
The
be.
numbers are
breakthroughs,
fantastic. How many people of the same category did you talk to the week before?
Yeah, nothing like that. I don't even think, none, I don't think, actually.
0. So you went from 0 to 40.
Right.
I would call that a win. And I would also say, I mean, the people think that, oh, you know, it was just a coincidence that you got sick. Not.
It's not.
No, not at all. Your body is connected to your emotions. And what happened is I think as you move forward, you're going to realize that this fear is more imagined than it is real. You have 10 great conversations, 10 people that you have a relationship with that you can work forward with. And it's not life or death.
Right. The breakthroughs, I know the breakthroughs that I had were so monumental. Been pushing myself through and making myself do it in the first place, and then pushing myself through to get back at it again, even though I was, still quote unquote sick. And then
what was the biggest lesson?
Oh my gosh. Probably that I can see very clearly how I avoid and how I sabotage, and I have learned better how to navigate that. Because it's about managing and navigating that more than anything. And the more I manage and navigate it, the less of a problem it'll be for me.
And here's what I would tell you. If you learn to kind of capture this whole story, you can put it into a training, into a Zoom for your team or for the company, and just like, let me tell you how I faced one of my biggest fears, and it was a week that changed my life.
Definitely a week that changed my life.
Right? So you can just describe to them, because do you think everybody in your teams, in your company could relate to it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody. Maybe not the same exact thing. Maybe not the same exact fear, but the symptoms, the avoidance, the physical reaction, the tears, all of that stuff, it's all real. So I want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
Well done, you.
Thank you.
On just taking a step. Now, see, this is we're going to have a year of this, and
So what do you guys think? Did she have a breakthrough or not? You see the difference? And I think how often I will start something and just like that, it's like, oh, then you have an excuse, I'm sick, or it's too uncomfortable, or it's not meant to be. But I think if we take this and start learning, oh my gosh, that means we're onto something. We're on the edge of that breakthrough, because look at what I voxed her several voxes. She did go through to continue. She's got her 100 stories. And she told me what she did is she sent all voice messages to connect with people. And then she'd get a time to talk with them, to be able to share her story, and try to do it right away. Like, I'm doing this challenge. I'd really love to share my story with you. I have a little bit of time tonight or tomorrow morning. She kept it really easy. Would you be open to let me share my story? But then she also listened to them, and she said it really improved her relationship. She got to find out about them. And she has a lot more people now that are interested in Juice Plus, the business and the product. So she said it was absolutely a breakthrough. It was the most uncomfortable thing she ever did. And so think about that. If you're at your wit's end and you just want to scream and you say, I can't do it, and it's too hard, or I'm too uncomfortable, or this or that, I think you're on the edge of, you just got to keep pushing through, and whatever it is you want to get over, that can be your breakthrough. So what are thoughts and opinions on this?
Well, just listening to her is like, oh my gosh, I could totally see that would be me. I would find a reason, make an excuse, get distracted. I'd have to feed my goldfish that I don't even have. Yeah. And then I probably would get myself tied up in knots. And But like, wow, good for her. You know, every time I do push through, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't die. It's fine.
Hey guys, I just have to step out for a minute.
So
Go ahead.
it is fun going through it. Well, let me say that again. Reflecting back, it's like, oh, it's okay. I did it and it was worth it. And then I can feel like, hey, girl, you did it. You did it. So yeah, that was good. That's kind of fun that out of all those people, a Juice Plus person got picked.
Mhm. I've been listening to her. We're in a Voxer group together, and I've been listening to her talk. And I mean, the first few days, you know, she was kind of a wreck, and she's just been inspirational now. You know, listening to her share her breakthrough, because she's really truly had a breakthrough. I think now she's upped it from, you know, how we have our 2x2x2 chart. She's reaching out to 40 people a day, I think, now.
And what is her name again?
Alicia McPeak.
Alicia Peak.
ALICIAMCPEEK. I think that's what she said, was she was going to start reaching out to 40, because she's like, if I can do 20, I can do 40. Because Eric always pushes you to do more, right? So he always pushes you to do double. Because what's really cool about that is if you think, oh, 20 people, that's a lot, right? And then you double it to 40, holy buckets, 20 seems easy. So yeah, it's been inspiring.
And
Lori,
she's picking up the phone and calling everybody.
I can't remember for sure if she's calling them or leaving them voice messages to then call them and tell them her story. Because I think that when she does talk to them, it is actually a phone call, but initially it's a voice message, either on voice to text. You know, she'll use her phone to voice message them, or she'll do it on Facebook Messenger as a voice message. So, and I found, just a side note there, I am finding that I'm having so much better response from people when I send a voice message. Just an FYI.
And do you mean voice message over Facebook Messenger? Is that what
Yeah.
you mean? Okay.
Yeah, you've got 1 minute to send a message, so you got to really shorten that baby down, which is
Yep.
challenging.
I didn't do this challenge, but just you saying that, there were 2 times that I've done that, and both times I ended up ultimately getting the order, because they could hear my voice and my passion, and I spoke super fast.
Yeah.
But it was like this back and forth of, well, what package should I get? Well, what would be best for me? My doctor said I need this.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that was good. Huh.
Can anybody else see that in you? How maybe there's been something in the past where, especially in relation to Juice Plus, where you get really, really uncomfortable and then you just want to back away? Does anybody else experience that? Oh my God, I do it all the time. Even today, I've been doing this 11 years and I still do that.
You know, I just did something. I ended up doing those live videos. That was so out of my comfort zone. But I thought, you know what? I got to start doing something. And I ended up getting 2 or 3 different little conversations going. I think I'm going to start walking around like Morrill and showing people that haven't been in Morrill forever, the town of Morrill, and going up to the monument and just doing little walks and talk to people on live with that. And that was a breakthrough for me, because that was something that scared the crap out of me, but I did it anyway, and it turned out pretty good.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So now you'll be able to share your story on Facebook as you get more, you'll be able to just do that because you're going to be more comfortable.
Right. I've always been the photographer. I don't want to be in front of the camera. I want to be behind the camera. I hate being in front of the camera.
I think we can pretty much all relate to that, but people want to see you. I did the 100 videos in a week challenge in the 7 days. And I found that my very first 2 days, I was totally procrastinating, and the whole idea of trying to wrap your head around trying to do 100 videos that were 10 minutes long in 10 days, that was challenging, because it was going to be 15 videos a day. And then the closer that I got to that 7-day cutoff, it was that number kept rising because I needed to get them done. And then so when I finally started, I had nothing but technical problems. I still have technical problems, so I've stopped doing them because nobody can hear me. My audio is so bad. So if anybody can privately have conversation with me about that, it'd be great. I've done everything that I know to do, and I'm not technically stupid, so I can't figure it out though. But so I'm going to do a different challenge, I think, for now. I've still gone ahead and done some photographs of myself because that still is a challenge for me. I fear what people will think of me, the fear of the judgment, which is just silly. Um, so this whole exercise has been in getting past the fears. Tony Robbins, when he has a fear, he in fact doesn't allow a fear to exist in his body. He faces it head on, and he just tackles it. And the way that Eric recommended to do it, he said that when he was in network marketing years ago, ironically, he was with the Juice Plus company, his very first gig. It was back when we sold water filters. That was way back, way back in the day. Anyway, he said that picking up the phone and talking to people was a real challenge to him. So he just decided that he was going to make 100 phone calls in one day. Now he's a man, so, he probably is short conversations. I'm like, I get on the phone with someone and it's 45 minutes, an hour and a half later. But anyway, so that's where the challenge, that's where the 100 came from. Because he said, by the time you get done with doing it 100 times, you're going to be really, really comfortable with it. So might not even take that long. So that's where that 100 came from. Anybody else have anything that they want to share from that, or?
Yeah, I'd like to share because I'm in the GoPro accelerator also. And the challenge that I took in that 7 days was to get 100 rejections. And so I just started inviting people to, upcoming events. My challenge was in that was a sleep deprivation because I was working a midnight to 8 shift and trying to work the Juice Plus business along with the work schedule that I had and trying to get sleep, and your whole sleep pattern is messed up, and trying to hit, all the trainings for the GoPro accelerator and go to events and be present at events for people. And in amongst that, I'm still working on getting that 100 rejections, but in amongst that, I've had at least in most of the events, one person that has been at the event, and then probably a good 3 to 4 different conversations afterwards.
Awesome. Now, so your fear was rejection, right? That was
Yes.
why you had tackled that. So in those rejections so far, or in those conversations that you've had so far, how many of those rejections were just horrible, where people were like, don't ever call me again, leave me alone? Because that's kind of the rejection that we fear, right? It's not just that someone's going to say no, it's that they're going to be like a real jerk about it, right?
Well, I really can't say that they were, a real jerk about it.
Right.
It was more the rejection of that the timing wasn't right. And so to really say that I've actually had like in your face, like Eric Worre said, get an in your face rejection. No, I've
Right.
not had a rejection. I've made mental notes that states to me that this is not the time, but most of them are very cordial in their no's. And they said, I'm in tax season, contact me. I'm interested, contact me like in March. And so to really say that I've had a rejection, no, I haven't
Awesome.
had a rejection, but it really helped me to accept the no and understand that where before I would have, if I would have had a no, I would have thought, okay, I'm done. I'll never call them again. You know, they're just not interested. Where I have now I have a much better understanding of what that no is. And it's like, okay, make the mental note, move on to the next person, where before I would have been crushed and I would have stopped. But now it's just a mental note, move on to the next person, and just kept working through.
The cool thing that Eric talked about too is that we can leave the door open. They're rejecting, you know, with maybe they don't have time to listen to your story, or they don't want to come to the event or watch a video or whatever you're offering them at the time. But he said, if we just keep that door open of, you know, can I keep you on the list for future events, or, you know, like that? Okay, would you like me to contact you after taxes? That those truly aren't even rejections.
Right.
It's just moving the door to the next place.
It's
So
just an,
yeah, and Olga just signed up Brittany just in this last week. And I mean, we'd already done 3-way calls with her. Olga's dripped on her. I mean, all this stuff has happened for this whole last year. And when Brittany got signed up and we were Zooming the other day, she even said, wow, Olga, you know, I'm just so happy that you kept educating me. And she says, I really have hope now, you know, of what's can happen for my family and for my mom and, you know, the people that she'd signed up. And, you know, it's easy for us to say, oh, that person said no. Oh, I've already done a 3-way call. And, you know, Olga's just the sweetest thing. How can you say, hey, do you want to get on this Zoom with Susie? And I want to show you. And she just kept asking in a polite way and sending information. And so now Brittany's a nurse, and now Brittany's pretty excited. So it just shows, leave those doors open, and don't be afraid to you know, come back around to that. And you know, what did we read in a book that it takes, usually most people don't even make a decision. It takes like 8 to 12 contacts or something like that. So if you're only connecting with somebody 1 or 2 times, then there's this small percentage of people that keep dripping information, and they're going to go through and collect, you know, 80% or something. I'd have to pull. It's just fascinating too. It's like, why are we so afraid just to talk to people and tell them what we're passionate about? What's wrong with that? And if you didn't read National Marketing Director Dana Popham's, she just put it out there to everybody about, hey, somebody asked me what I do for a living. And sometimes people take a small approach. And she even talked about her body language, that she just squared her shoulders and said, you know, this is what, and she put it in such a proud way. So there might be a few little things in there that you can say, hey, that's how I feel. You know, I'm gonna steal that piece of verbiage. So check on Facebook Team Ignite for that. So anybody else have to, I have one other exercise we can do or not do. It is from Lisa Nichols, but she talked a lot. I've been reading all these different things about mirror work, which I'd never heard until a few weeks ago. But even fun little things, like every time you go by the mirror, instead of looking and like, oh, I look fat in that, or my hair's not right, or you know how women do, we're not always kind to ourselves looking in the mirror. So one person said every time they go by, they go like this and they high five the mirror, just smile. So just think about that this week, just smile and high five yourself every time you go in the mirror. And they said that changes your whole energy of what you're doing. But Lisa Nichols has an exercise where there are 3 statements. And if you want me to play it, I will. Probably take another, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. Do you guys have like enough? I don't want to overload your brain, but these are statements to start changing the ways we feel about ourselves. That, you know, if you're sitting there brushing your teeth in the morning, you can just be saying stuff, putting your makeup on, drying your hair. It's a way to just start changing how you're looking at yourself.
Susie, I'd like to just speak to that exercise.
Okay.
that was something when we went through Lisa Nichols' training in the GoPro. That one really spoke to me. And so I had put on the little index card and I stuck it on the mirror in my bathroom so that like when I'm done showering and I'm just brushing my hair, I just sit and say those statements. And you're supposed to say your name. And the first couple of times just to say my name in the mirror was like, whoa. I mean, it was like you are talking to yourself and really having a self-reflective moment and stating, you know what, you are a good person. Now start naming those things, and just, what am I going to be committed to? And just forgiving myself. Boy, I struggled the first couple of times. I really struggled with what were 7 things that I could forgive myself for.
That's awesome. So do you guys want the extra time to do it or not do it?
Yeah.
Oh, we have enough thumbs up. Okay. Let me see. I have to find it on there.
While you're looking, I'll just share a story. Dr. Carol Watson is for those of you who don't know her, she started off her journey, gosh, was she like 300 and some, almost 400 pounds. And now she's 165, but it's like an ideal weight. She looks like a completely different person. It's just amazing. I listened to her on a podcast recently, and she was talking about how she started telling herself in the mirror that she loved herself. She had a food addiction. And so she started telling herself how much she loved herself, and she started picking things about her body that she loved. And she says it was really, really transformational for her, because when you love yourself, you will treat yourself better. But she despised herself. And so it was okay for her to treat herself badly by feeding her body this junk that was not going to serve it well. It was so inspiring. If you haven't listened to that recording, I can share it. I think it's already been shared once, but I can share it again in our Voxer group.
Great. Okay, so here you might want a pen to jot down these 3 things, and she'll set it up.
How do you forgive yourself?
How do you forgive yourself? So I'm going to give you really quick exercise to do. And anyone who needs to release some energy around forgiveness or around just self, type your name in chat now so I know who I'm talking to. And of course, I can't see your name until I put my glasses on. Okay, great. So I'm talking to all of you. So I'm going to give you the mirror work exercise. I'm a coach. I was going to give you this after Marina and I spoke, but I'll give it to you now because this speaks, Anna, to you. So I want you to get in the mirror. First of all, if you're willing to do the exercise that I'm going to give you, now type your name in chat and say, I'm in. I want you to just self-select. Everyone doesn't have to do it. I'm in. Just say, I'm in. Okay, great. Remember you said I'm in. So remember you said I'm in before you knew what I was giving you. So don't make the decision after I've given it to you if you're in. You already made that decision. Right? And so get in the mirror, Anna, and complete these 3 sentences. I did this 23 years ago when I was coming out of an abusive relationship. I was diagnosed as clinically depressed. I was prescribed Prozac. And I asked my doctor, can I try something before? I'm not implying you not to take your medicine if anyone's on medication. I just tried this process with my doctor's approval, and it changed my life. It and a few other things. It by itself, it didn't, but it was the main catalyst. In the mirror, each morning, after you wash your face before makeup, I want you to complete 3 sentences. As I'm talking, type this in chat so that someone can follow the trail. 3 sentences. And the first sentence is a sentence of celebration. You look at yourself in the mirror and you say your name. And you say, I'm proud that you. And you find 7 different things to be proud of that you've done. Now, if you're over 30, go back 20 years for the first 3 days and then bring it to present. But there's so many things in your old past that you haven't celebrated. I'm proud that you. So it looks like this. Lisa, I'm proud that you was the best mother for Jelani based on what you had at the time. You made mistakes, but you forgave yourself. Lisa, I'm proud that you raised your hand and told someone that you were being abused. Lisa, I'm proud that you got on stage the first 5 years, totally scared for 5 years. So the first sentence is, I'm proud that you. And you have 7 different endings. The second sentence is the one that's gonna be the gut punch, Anna, and everyone else. It's the one that you're gonna wanna quit. It's the one that's gonna bring the irritation that I told you about earlier. The second sentence is, say your name, Ethel, say your name, Peggy, I forgive you for. So the second one is, I forgive you for. Lisa, I forgive you for lowering your integrity bar and getting in a relationship that didn't serve you. Lisa, I forgive you for hiring someone and not doing enough due diligence on them, and it's cost you millions. Lisa, I forgive you for gaining over 90 pounds when you were depressed. Cut the shackles to blame, shame, guilt, and regret through the statement, I forgive you for. Find 7 different endings of forgiveness. And the last sentence, say your name, Kristen, Becky, Janelle, Avi. Lisa, I commit to you that. And make 7 different commitments to yourself before you ever serve anyone else that day. Lisa, I commit to you. And mind you, I was depressed at the time, so my commitments weren't big. My commitment sounded like this. Lisa, I commit to you that today I'll notice the negative self-talk. Lisa, I commit to you that I'll take a shower today. Lisa, I commit to you, I'll make 1 extra sales call today. Lisa, I commit to you. Now, over the years, the 3 sentences gave me different answers because I began to heal. But the sentence is, I'm proud that you, I forgive you for, I commit to you that. 7 different endings. Each day you can repeat what you said the day before, but every day you want 7 different endings. Anna, do that for 21 days. Now I did it for 6 months, but you guys, I was depressed. I was scared. I was fighting for my emotional life. You may be in a different place. This turned my crawl into a walk. And then it turned my walk into a run. And then it turned my run into a soar. So I was gonna give you this at the end of our conversation, but Anna, it fits you right now. I wanna make sure that you have that. Now, that's not easy. I wasn't even audible when I was talking because I was in such a healing place. I've done it now. I did it every day for 6 months. I do it now. I've been doing it now for 23 years. I don't do it every day anymore. Now I'm in maintenance. Then I was learning how to catch my breath. So depending on where you are, you may want to do it for 21 days. You may want to do it for 90 days. And then make a decision where you are. I now do it every 90 days. I do it for 7 days because I'm in maintenance.
I thought that was so good. That's doable. And Vicky's already doing it. And I think that's it. Got to write it down, put it right there on the mirror so that we can see it. What'd you think of that? How many people would try that? Cool. We should all institute that right away and see, how do we feel after 21 days? You know, let's look at toward the end of November. I'd be really curious to see if how we feel about ourselves changes.
I already have anxiety thinking about the things that I would write down. I mean, not like freaked out anxiety, but the whole idea of saying things to myself in the mirror, because I've said literally some really, really horrible things to myself when I've been in dark places. I remember one time standing in front of the mirror. I loathed myself at the time. And I remember just standing there, I had taken off my clothes to get in the shower. Maybe I was getting out of the shower. I can't remember, but I was standing there and I was just screaming at myself how ugly I was and how much I loathed myself. So the thought of doing the opposite, that's going to take some, that's probably going to be some tears too.
Well, the thought of forgiving yourself for that
Yeah, exactly. Too, that
moving
too.
forward. Yeah. You know, what's amazing to me is going through all this, all the negative self-talk we'll say to ourselves, but we would never
No.
say that to our friends. You know, we wouldn't pick them apart or anything. Why do we do that? Um, and it's really not attractive. Nobody wants to be around somebody that is just putting themselves down all the time. So this is this good personal development, everything. And the reason we're doing this, and if you haven't been on some of the prior meetings, because we know the more personal development you have, when you take it and put it into action, it's going to change things in your relationships. It's going to change things in your business. It's going to change things in so many areas. But it's like she said, you can't just be an information gatherer. You can come to all these meetings all you want, but if you don't turn around and do something about it and make those changes and get uncomfortable and push yourself out of the nest, um, nothing will happen. So just remember, you can come to all the meetings you want and you can say that was awesome, but it's still up to each of us to do the work.
The breakthrough doesn't come until the action.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the repetition of it. I mean, guys, we can't just do it one day in front of the mirror, you know, and like, it's kind of amazing that she did it for as long as she did, but good for her. You know, I'm sure there were days she didn't want to. It's probably extremely uncomfortable. I mean, I'm just thinking of myself doing it and I'm like, I'll be excited about it for a few days and then, well, oh, I didn't do it today. I'll just do it tomorrow. And then the next thing you know, like, I didn't do it. So I think it would be a cool commitment to make to myself. Just even that would be one thing to forgive myself for, is saying I'm going to do things and not following through.
That's awesome.
I've really noticed just in the week that I've been doing it, like there's lots of times I get out to the car and I've forgotten the keys, you know, and I would say something negative to myself like, you know, what did you do that for, stupid? You know, and it's like, whoa, stop. Why did you even begin to say that to yourself? So very, very much for me, I really pay attention because I'm by myself. You know, if I had a spouse or if I had children, I wouldn't be saying those kind of things around them. So it makes me very, very observant about what I have said to myself for years and years and years. And it's no wonder I self-sabotage myself, because I'm probably the hardest critic of all on myself. And even at the work that I have, it's been crazy, actually. In fact, being a dispatcher, because we had a very bad accident and it's a relative of mine. And so to hear what people are saying, I have to keep telling myself not to do that negative talk and have to really turn the negatives into positives so that other people will, you know, realize, you know, kind of, wait a minute, this is, you know, a relative of mine. I really don't need at this point in time for you to be negative. I need you to be positive, because this is a very tragic incident that's going to affect my cousin's child's life for many, many years to come.
And I think as we get stronger with ourselves, we teach other people how to treat us, you know, so that you can speak up for yourself and put that out there. Anybody else want to share on that? Okay, I just have one more thing to throw out there, and I'm cautionary because I don't want to do overwhelm. I also bought Tony Robbins. What does he call it? He calls it his breakthrough program on the body you deserve. It's not a diet program. Again, it's all wrapped around how do we do this, change mentally. It comes with a a manual. It's about 120-page manual that if people, you could print it off or look at it individually or something. But sometimes I wonder, we do all this personal growth and development, but other people, I'm just wondering if there was a way that we could include other people, because so many people make resolutions and now it's February and usually they're pretty much off of their resolutions. And it's because you can't just do it with willpower. You have to be able to change your mindset on this. So he and this doctor wrote this program. I haven't been through it, and it's not visual, it's all auditory. But it's like a 10-day program, about an hour a day, and then you would do the exercises in that. Is that something that anybody thinks would be a good idea? Maybe we could even do it as a team first, so we know what to expect, and then we could, if we think it would be a good value added thing to offer our Juice Plus people, because I really want to see people succeed. And we have the Shred program and it's wonderful, but so many people, they just can't get in and make a bunch of changes and make them stick. And so he really works on the mental side of that. What is the opinion on that?
I'd like to do a practice run.
Since it's audible or audit, it's
Just audio. And
audio.
boy, talk fast.
Yeah. How would you do that?
I feel like we would just have to have a Zoom call where
Okay.
everybody could just listen.
Okay.
And everybody could look at the workbook and decide if, what all they wanted to print or do or
Okay.
something on that.
Yeah, I'd definitely be up for it. I love Tony.
Yeah, he's really changed the way I look at things all the time. I just listened to the intro kind of stuff today, and he just talks about how we have to really change things. Like we've always heard, if you're on the airplane, you gotta take that mask and put it on yourself before your child so that you can do that. But he says, let's take it even farther than that. The pilot is having a massive heart attack, and anyway, I'm going to mess it up. But he was just saying, when you have to figure something out, it's never mind. I'm so off base. I can't even think how he did it. He just is talking a lot. He's got all more of the psychological side, but that would be something. I'm not saying that we would do it on a Monday team meeting, but I just didn't know if there'd be any interest. So yeah, if there even, if two of you are saying you do it, I'd be happy to do it together.
Brooke and Judy both raised their hands too.
Yeah.
Sheila.
Who else did?
Vivi, Vicky, Brooke, Judy, Sheila.
Okay. I just feel like it might be a way to, I don't know. I haven't been through the program, so I don't really want to invite other people into it because I don't know what to expect. But okay. Well, anybody have any final words for today? How many people are going to go write out their mirror talk? We got to do it right away, because what'll happen. Otherwise, it won't happen, right?
Well, let's hold each other accountable. Let's post something in Team Ignite on Facebook, and then everybody, when you get it done, you can drop a GIF.
There you go.
Were you able to see my mirror already?
Well, yeah, we can see it if you show it to us.
No, I just see a TV.
I see your screen.
There's words on there. She's writing on it already.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now I see it. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. Well, and this could be something that if it works for us, then we have a personal story. So when somebody's sharing things that they're trying to get over, we can say, you know what? I heard this personal development coach and I did this for 21 days and, it made a difference. It didn't, whatever your story is going to be. So, but all right, ladies, well, go have a marvelous week. Do great things. Push yourself. Think about what you heard today. If you really want to break through in any area of your life or your business life, what do you want to do this week to push yourself? Remember Alicia, she cried, she got angry, she went and got a support team, she cried and got angry more, but then she did it. And I hope that she sticks in the back of your head next time you're doubting yourself or you're feeling upset about not doing what you want to do. You can do it. You just got to keep pushing. So I wish that for all of you. All right, you guys have a marvelous week. Talk to you later.
Thanks
you.
for being here, everybody.